Well, I'd like to welcome back to the show Dr. Bruce Dunn, our floriculture specialist.
Thanks for having me, Kim.
Yes, well, last year we visited in your research greenhouses where you had some poinsettia trials going on. Here you have a little bit different production system. Tell me about these greenhouses.
Yeah, so besides those trials, I also teach greenhouse management, and as part of that class, the students are in charge of growing about 2,500 poinsettias.
Excellent. And in the research greenhouse, you were looking at trials, you had a very uniform crop, but these are for sale. Do you have a different approach to growing here?
Yeah, with the trial poinsettias, we just grow them all in the 6-inch pot, kind of a standard pot. Since we're going to sell these plants, we want to have a range of different sizes. So we have some 4.5-inch pots.
Okay.
And this is Jingle Bells. We have 2 different cultivars, and the 4.5 to the red, which is the traditional color that most people look for, but then we also do Jingle Bells, which sold quite well last year.
Yeah, it's a little bit different, a lot of fun.
And then step up from that, then we have a 6-inch pot, which is kind of the traditional size of a poinsettia that most people think about if they want to put on their dining table.
Okay, and what cultivar is this?
This is Cortez Burgundy.
Okay, it's very pretty. Yeah. You have some larger specimens here as well.
Right, so each of those that I've showed you before, it's been 1 cutting per pot, but for these we put 7 cuttings in each pot. So this is an 8-inch pot, so it's a lot larger plant.
Okay, and I noticed something very interesting. Not very familiar with, you called them tree poinsettias. Tell me about these. These are fun.
Right, so this is another one, kind of a specialty plant that we grow. We start these as cuttings back in March, allow them to grow, and again, this is just 1 plant per pot. It's a single stem. As they're growing, then we'll slowly peel back some of these bottom branches to kind of give it this tree form.
Okay, very interesting. It has a very unique look to it.
Right, and people come and really enjoy that kind of plant.
Okay. Now, these are grown for your class, but when they're done, they're also put up for sale, correct?
Right, so the class grows them. We get in cutting starting in August. We have the sale. It's always the first weekend after Thanksgiving. So this year it's December 2nd and December 3rd. The sale starts at 7:30 and it goes until 5:30. It's down here at the Teaching Greenhouses, which is located south of the Colvin Center, or kind of east of the tennis courts.
Okay. And what do you do with the money that the students raise?
Yeah, as part of the sale, we use the money, part of it's seed money that goes back for next year for production, to buy back in the cuttings, the fertilizer, the pots. And then also we use some of the money as a scholarship for Pi Alpha Xi, which is our national horticulture society. Okay. And then also the students, we use that money for field trips to take the students to see some of the various industries.
Okay, very good. Well, Bruce, you have 2 full greenhouses of poinsettias. How much are each of the students responsible for?
I divide the students up into teams. This year there's 4 people on each team, and so each team's responsible for half of the greenhouse. I've asked a couple of my students to come in and talk to you a little bit more about what their role is in growing these poinsettias.
Well, excellent. Thank you. I'll go learn some more from them. Thanks,
Bruce. Thanks for having me.
Joining me is a horticulture student, Lance Swearengin. Lance, tell me about the student's role in raising the poinsettias.
Well, we come in each day, twice a day, and check for watering, pests, and nutrients.
Okay. And your plants are all, I see all these tubes, so they're all watered.
Right. Each deck here is on a self-watering system with watering emitters. So each plant is getting watered individually.
But you want to check and make sure the soil's evenly moist?
Right, yeah. The hardest part of watering poinsettias is they don't want to be too wet and they don't want to be too dry. So it's a very even watering, and so we have to check that twice a day.
Okay. And you're also looking at some of the nutrients as you're
Right, yes. They're being fertilized through the water system.
Okay.
And we're checking the electrical conductivity and the pH every week so that we can get a better glimpse as to what nutrients they're receiving in the soil.
Okay. Now you also mentioned that you're looking for pests. And what are some of the most common pests?
Well, one of the major pests for poinsettia crop is whitefly.
Okay.
And so we have these yellow sticky cards around the greenhouse that will give us an indication as to what pest we have on the crop.
Okay, and the insects are attracted to the yellow?
They're attracted to the color, and then we can come in and observe what pests are on there and then make changes to the
decision
crop.
if you need to manage it or not. Okay. Now, when you started your crop, did you start from small plugs, or how did you get started with these?
These were rooted plugs that we started with, and we planted them in about the end of August.
Okay.
2 weeks after we planted them, we came in and we did a controlled pinch on most of the cultivars.
Tell me about that.
We came in and pinched out the very top, about 6 nodes up from the soil line, and the node is going to be right here where the leaf is coming out.
Okay.
This gave them a nice lateral branching, which helped them to become more full. So we did that on most of our crops, except for this cultivar, which we wanted to be more of an upright variety.
Okay, it has these nice distinct stems. It looks very attractive.
Yes.
What's been one of the most challenging aspects of raising the poinsettias?
One of the most challenging aspects is being able to look at the crop and know what's going on with the crop just by looking at it.
Okay.
So monitoring for pests, nutrient deficiencies, and the watering.
Yeah, and a lot of these different problems show similar symptoms, so you have to be a very good detective, don't you?
That's right.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Lance. I appreciate it. Joining me now is botany student Jessica Squires. Jessica, in addition to the poinsettias, I know you grew a number of specialty crops. Tell me about some of these plants.
Yeah, that's right. We had 4 specialty crops that we were required to grow. We have caladiums here, ornamental peppers, cyclamen plants, and Thanksgiving cactus.
And the ornamental peppers, that's something new to me for Christmas.
It is, it is. This is the first time we've done the ornamental peppers, but we're hoping that it's a big hit.
I can imagine the peppers hanging on like little Christmas ornaments on the plant. That'll be a lot of fun. Now, as you were growing these, what are some of the critical timing? I'm sure you want to time them so they're ready for the holidays. How do you address that?
When we were given all of these to plant, the peppers came as seedlings, whereas the caladiums came as bulbs. And we were just told, you need to know how long these are going to take to reach maturity, because they need to be mature by the time we sell them. So for example, the peppers, they're going to take around 3 months to reach maturity, whereas the caladiums take 3 weeks or so. So it was important to know to plant these now, and we can plant these later.
We want to get them in flower at the time of the sale. It's very tricky.
It is, it is.
What are some of the challenges that you or your fellow students experienced as you were growing these?
Some difficulties that we had was with the pepper seedlings. As you can see, the plug trays are really small, so they need to be watered every day, and sometimes multiple times a day if it's really hot. And we're required to take care of them on the weekends, and some people didn't come in to water them, so they had some seedlings die and had to restart them.
It's definitely...
Also, with the caladiums, we were told we could keep the bulbs and plant them later on. And most of the people that kept the bulbs ended up, they rotted on them, and so they never came up. But we didn't have any extra ones, so
there are not going to be very many caladiums at the sale.
It's true.
What kind of recommendations would you have for your customers who are purchasing these plants to bring home for the holidays?
I think that it's very important for customers to at least have a little bit of background information about what crops they're bringing home, especially their light requirements, their watering requirements. A cactus doesn't need to be watered as much as a cyclamen, and you can rot them out by watering them too much. And you know, especially if you're here at the plant sale, just ask one of us. We can tell you, we can give you a little bit of information on that. It doesn't take very much time or energy at all, and your plants will be grateful that you know what to do and how to keep them happy.
Absolutely. Well, I can tell you've certainly learned a lot through the class. Tell me about how you're graded on these.
We are graded, each of these crops is worth 25 points for a total of 100 points. And we're graded on number of flowers, proportion, symmetry, marketability, and uniformity. As you can see in this caladium, there's really tall ones and really short ones here. And one way that you can get them to be all uniform is to de-eye them, which is going to break the apical dominance. So you get lateral growth. You get these little ones. It's going to be bigger and fuller and bushier instead of
having these multi-levels.
So it just pleases the eye a little bit more when they're all in that same level.
Okay. Well, Jessica, thank you very much.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.